Yeah, I mean, this movie really wears its influences right on its sleeves.
It does, yeah.
In a fun way.
Yeah.
It is just so achingly sincere in the way that it is all presented.
Yes.
And they just think they're cool enough to like act the way they do, but they don't think they're so cool. Like, they're not totally delusional in the way they're behaving. They get what they're doing. And I think that lens, it makes the whole thing feel so of a piece.
Yes.
I think it's a very well realized and so well put together in that sense.
Yes. In terms of just the production, like from a directing standpoint and in like a overall editing standpoint, or just, do you mean?
Not the editing. Certainly not the editing.
You don't like
the editing
okay.
is a conversation we're going to have.
Okay.
But like, I think that the sincerity of it, that like everybody gets, and even the actors that like aren't good actors, that I don't even really dox them. Like, if you're just like, if he's like, hey, you're gonna walk up and you're gonna like snap your fingers and you're gonna say like nice tuxedo to die in, like good for that guy, whoever that guy is.
I want to say I feel like every supporting performance in this movie, and I mean this sincerely, every character in this movie to me is so like fleshed out in their performances. And even like the people that don't, even the actors that are not quite giving in like great acting performances, and it's clear if you look them up on IMDb, they didn't continue to act after this, so it's not like they might not even have been pursuing careers in acting, but the clunkiness kind of just adds to just the strangeness of this world. And like the fact that we go from that scene where like you go from the opening where basically I like kind of the sequence where Buddy draws a line in the sand, and he's basically saying to the kid, hey, leave your teddy behind. And he's basically saying like leave your childhood behind if you're going to come on this journey with me, like, or basically just like leave that innocence, that sort of like piece of your childhood behind and come with me. And then it cuts to them at the club with the Red Elvises for the first time, and like the song is just kind of like a fun punk song, but like they're not even saying words, they're just saying gibberish, just like and it's just, that is this movie. It's just kind of like a fun like 50s rock guitar and just like
okay.
But I guess
so. This movie is deeply sincere.
Deeply sincere.
Oh no, keep going.
I'm sorry, I went on a rant. Did I go off track? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but so I'm just saying this movie is deeply sincere,
yes.
And dude bites a jawbreaker. That's cool.
To be fair,
that's cool.
Not only does he bite it, he
can't fight that.
He bounces it off the ground first to
front
crack
teeth.
It, and then he bites
it.
You
hear the click.
Yep.
And then he bites it. Front teeth.
Yep.
That gives me nightmares. Undeniably cool. Undeniably cool.
I love that. No, I mean,
I can't fight that.
I want to talk about Jeffrey Falcon and see what your thoughts on him are first. I really think he is the epitome of just like cool in this movie. He is so charismatic and just like cool the entire. I love him, and I love just his, what would you say? I wish his archetype like continued in film. Like, I realize he's doing sort of like a buddy. It's obviously, death in this movie is obviously sort of referencing Slash from Guns N' Roses. This is obviously referencing Buddy Holly.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I know you're being so... But not many people can read sarcasm on sarcasm on podcasts.
I know, that's the fun.
He looks... Our main character, Buddy, looks like Buddy Holly, but I think that archetype of like a kung fu samurai guitar playing like nerd character is such a fun archetype that I wish continued in cinema, but I guess this definitely won't be continuing.
I think that I don't hold much against him in this performance. I don't think it's a very like actually like good performance.
I think it is.
I think that my real problem with it, and this is going to be a thing we're going to talk about, is that the ADR he does not have a single line of dialogue like recorded on location, I think, in this whole movie.
I think very few people do.
I know.
Yeah.
And the ADR's like not good.
That's kind of why
Wait.
I wanted to do this movie, because I assumed if something was going to bother you about it,
You knew it was gonna haunt me?
it was going to be that. And it's so funny how I can kind of almost even recognize from a sound design perspective, perhaps it isn't of a quality that a higher budget film would be. But like everything else in this movie, the ADR helps to just make me feel completely immersed in this world that isn't my own. Like, it's strange how for you, I imagine it takes you out of it and makes you think it's not good. And for me, it just immerses me in just kind of the consistency of the world that it exists in. And I think that, I am complimenting sort of like the directing, because I think that is the thing that's sort of like, that's the person who kind of seems the creative person that is like keeping everything in this same consistent tone the whole way through, whether it be the ADR or the music or the way it's cut or it's shot. He knows this movie seems very aware of its flaws, and it wears the flaws on its skin, but it also kind of like shows its skill with kind of playing with those things as well. And I think the ADR is just one of those things that, for me, it immerses me in this movie with its consistency of constantly feeling like it's ADR and just strange and almost like it's like, for me, I love the ADR of, and this is getting off the Jeffrey Falcon buddy character, but I love the ADR of like Death and his henchmen. Like, I think that those are cartoon characters. Like, they're played like such evil characters, and I enjoy them so much.
Well, and as you were describing it, I think that maybe the best argument for handling ADR the way they did would almost to lend itself to even more feel like an anime.
Yes.
In the way they have those close-ups of like the blade cutting the line in the dirt and stuff,
or a samurai movie that's been translated to English, dubbed to English.
Right, either one.
Right.
Yeah, it's right. I guess that's very much of a piece.
Yeah.
And I think that it really could vibe that way. Okay, hold on. I was saying things I liked about this movie. You're right. The stuff with Death, like the on-set lighting and the post-effects lighting on Death is cool.
Yep.
Every weird little time where you get a small glimpse of the skull, cool. Like, oddly restrained and insanely metal.
I love it as well. Oh, very metal, very metal. Oh yeah.
And I think that the kid is surprisingly good.
I love the way he's
like
written.
There's some times where he doesn't totally work for me, but in terms of kid actors, he hits a lot better than he misses, I think
so too. Yeah.
And as I said, the production design.
Yep.
Also beautiful.
Yep.
And that in a scene where everyone's punching each other in the face with guns, finally somebody has dialogue and says, "We ran out of bullets like 50 years ago."
Yeah.
And that's funny to me. That's funny.
No, I like it. And the one guy who actually has a bullet in the movie is the cowboy and his gun, I think like the bullet doesn't even go off. It backfires and it lights him on fire, ends up blowing up the gas station and himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that whole sequence where like the kid steals his car and he's just like, "I guess it's not my day," and he just explodes.